All right, well, Candace is doing that. To everybody on the call, my name is Jack Heller. I'm the Senior Vice President for Prosperity. And what I'm going to be doing today is going over our new product, our PrimeTo100, how the product works. And then I'll be handing it off to Candace, and she'll go through the whole process on how you can actually do the application over the telephone. But before I even get that far, I just want to first compliment and thank all of you for all the hard work you're doing. These are certainly some trying times and different times than any of us would have ever expected. You all do an incredible job. You are supplying a service to your customers that they truly need, especially in this day and age. And by you doing that is absolutely just a compliment to yourself, and congratulations on your success that you're having. You know, one of the things that Prosperity brings to the table is the ability to do our products via voice signature over the telephone and get an instant decision. So whether it's the PrimeTo100 that we're going to be talking about or our new Vista, you know, in today's day and age, a lot of customers will not let you into their house, rightfully so. So, you know, we've tried to make this available for you. And with that, I'm going to go over the product and see if there's any questions. We're happy to answer them as we go along. So let's talk about the PrimeTo100. The PrimeTo100, where it came to its name, is it's actually a product that goes to age 100. Okay, so it's a simplified issue graded death benefit term policy that's renewable up to age 100. So there's not a lot of term policies out there that go up that far. The initial period is a 20-year term, and it's basically a level term during that 20-year period. And then after that, you'll see when we go through an example, it starts to decrease in value until the insured would be 100 years old. Okay, this is what we like to call, Candace and I like to call, our almost guarantee issue health plan. It's not a guarantee issue, but it's pretty darn close. And again, you'll see that in a minute. Okay, so with that, let's go to the next page. This policy, unlike our other one, which goes ages 50 to 80, this policy goes from 40 to 80. The accidental death benefit plan is still available on this. The plan expires at age 100. The face amounts are $5,000 to $30,000. It is a simplified issue. There is no smoking rates on this at all. So it's really just an approved decline in a male-female rate. Premiums are based on issue age and gender only and are fixed throughout the lifetime of the contract. And believe it or not, although this is a term, there is a tiny cash value that will actually build up in this policy as well. And then as far as our reoccurring premiums, we do that like all of our other plans. We would do a direct bill annually, semi-annually, or quarterly. Please don't. We know how they persist on the books. So about 95% of all of our deals are done through an EFT, and the other 5% are through a debit card. So we do offer that annually, semi-annually, quarterly, and monthly. So first of all, there is no policy fee on this plan. So again, people are familiar with selling our new Vista plan, has a policy fee that's built in. There is no policy fee on this. We do underwriting. It's accept, reject based on the 3 knockout questions, which we're going to go through in a minute. We do have the MIB and prescription history. You might ask, well, why do you do that on an almost guarantee issue? Because sometimes people get confused. They forget that they actually did have a health issue last year or maybe 18 months ago. So we will run an MIB and a prescription check on the people, just so you know. Policy is underwritten using one of Aptical's point of sales underwriting approval methods, which we'll talk about, and that will be either through a paper application or through our voice signature. Okay. We do have the accelerated death benefit feature on this plan, with the exception of the state of California. It is not available in California. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have the accidental death benefit rider on this plan as well. That plan on all of them do expire at age 75. So here are the 3 questions. Within the past 2 years, have you been confined to or been advised by a licensed medical professional to be admitted to a nursing home, hospice, extended care, special treatment facility, require the use of oxygen equipment to assist in breathing, or do you need ongoing personal assistance performing your ADL, eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, and cognizance? So if they answer any of that, yes, then they would not qualify for this plan in the past 2 years. I'm going to skip to question 3 real quick. Question 3 is, have you been advised by a licensed medical professional that your life expectancy is less than 24 months? If you answered that yes, well then I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have less than 24 months to live. I'm also sorry that we cannot provide any coverage for you. So that leaves question number 2. Within the past 2 years, have you been diagnosed by a member of the medical profession with any cancers, heart attack, heart surgeries, cardiomyopathy, congestive heart failure, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, or dementia, or undergone any major organ transplant surgery? I want you to go back up to the first line if you're looking this on your screen, and I'm going to reread this. Within the past 2 years, have you been diagnosed? That is the key word in this whole application on this whole product. So what does that say? That tells me if 5 years ago you had a liver transplant, 4 years ago you had congestive heart failure, and 3 years ago you had Alzheimer's disease, you would qualify for this plan, okay? Because you were diagnosed, even though you're still undergoing treatment for all those, you were diagnosed more than 2 years ago, therefore you qualify. So when we talk about it being an almost guarantee issue, you know, again, as long as it's more than 2 years, they're pretty much going to qualify for this plan. And I don't know many others out there that would even come close to that. Okay. A couple things also on the plan that makes us a little bit different. We do have a, you know, the ability for advances on this plan. We do pay some renewal commissions on this plan. But more importantly than that, and you can go to the next page, Candace. You know, we do actually offer you the safety of if your customer should pass away during the first 2 years, like some of the guarantee issues out there, they charge you back all of your commissions. Prosperity does not charge you back your commissions on this plan or any other plan. So it's a little peace of mind for you. So how does the plan work? Well, in the first 3 years, it's almost a graded plan or a return of premium in year 1. So year 1, they're going to get a return of premium plus 15% interest. Now, again, Prosperity is a little different than all your other carriers out there. Let's just say, hypothetically, the plan was $100 a month. Most plans, if your customer had paid 2 months and passed away, they would get back $200 in either 10 or 15% interest. So either $220 or $230 back. Prosperity actually annualizes at day 1. So although they might have only paid us $200, we would give them $1,200 credit plus 15% or another $180, where they would get back, in essence, $1,380, even if they had only paid us 1 or 2 months premium, and you would not be charged back for earned commissions during your death benefit. Year 2, it's a little bit confusing because depending on the issue age of the product, it's either going to pay 30% of the full face amount, ages 40 to 74, or 40% ages 75. And then in year 3, it's 60% of the face amount, ages 40 to 74, and 70% ages 75 to 80. So a little confusing there, but we will have a chart in every policy for people to look at. Okay, I thought we had a question there. Okay, years 4 through 20 is full face amount. And you can, yeah, that's great. Candace, go to that next slide, and you can actually see what it looks like. So if this person had taken a policy out at age 65 with a face amount of $20,000, their annual premium would be $1,758.40. Don't know why they couldn't, in the example, just make it $1,760, but that's the exact number. So in the first year, anytime if they were to pass away, whether they had paid 1 month's premium or 12, they would get back their death benefit of $2,022. Okay. In year 2, they would get $6,000 because it was a $20,000 deal. And in year 3, they would get back $12,000. Years 4 through 20, or ages 68 to 85, they would get the full face amount. And then the next 15 years until they would be 100 years old, you can see the decreasing amount. At age 86, the face amount would go to $18,680. At 22 years, age 87, it would go to $17,340, and right down the line. Now, keep in mind, most of the people who are buying this plan, are not of the best health. So the odds of them living 20 plus years certainly is not on the high end of the scale. But if they do, they would have a benefit all the way up until they turn 100, and then it would be down to $1,000 At 101, it would go away totally. Okay. And then if they should die accidentally, they would get the full death benefit in years 1, 2, and 3. And of course, if they had the accidental death benefit, then it would double that for them. Okay. So commissions are available daily on this. They are paid a little bit different than our other plans. Commissions are only paid after it's settled. So we actually have to have the money in our bank account before we'll pay in advance on it. We do have Social Security billing, and I'll let Candace go into that in a little bit more detail. But just to make sure everybody is on the same page, Social Security billing means we take the money out of their account the same day Social Security deposits it. So for example, if the first of the month happened to fall on a Saturday and they were getting paid on the 1st, we would take it on the last day of the previous month on Friday when they would get their deposit from Social Security. We do take a direct express card, but with any of our plans, if they use plastic, there is no advance paid on it. And this plan, like all of our plans and our companies, are all rated A- by AM Best, so you have peace of mind with your customers. Okay. So that's pretty much the whole product. Before we actually get in, I don't know, David.
Hold on 1 second here, Jack.
Maybe someone will come in during that time frame.
Yeah, Jack, did you have a question?
So Candace, I'll turn it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep rolling. We'll take any questions once we get through how to actually submit the application. So thank you, Jack. That was great overview of the product itself. So let's take a look at how do we submit an application. We're going to spend most of the time that we have here on this call today on the telesales method. So how do we obtain the voice signature on this application? This is done identically with our other product, New Vista. If you've already sold the New Vista Final Expense, it is almost an identical process. So really the only change to it is a little bit shorter because it's fewer health questions. So we're always going to direct you to the Aptical Live App portal. The link to this portal is sent through your welcome email. When you get contracted with Prosperity Life, we send you a link and we send you a set of user-specific login credentials. So if you're not already contracted, that'll be your first step, is to submit your contracting. And then once you get that welcome email, you'll know exactly where to go to submit the application. We do not require that you submit a paper app as your first application. We do require that we issue you a writing number. And this is what actually allows us to set up your account through Aptical to receive that voice signature application. So let's take a look. Again, I've got the web address here on display. This is also provided to you in your welcome email. And once you receive that, just go ahead and save that link because you'll use that for both the New Vista product and the PrimeTo100 product. So once you get signed into Aptical, you will, from the application menu at the top, you'll drop this box down. If you're familiar with our New Vista e-application, if any of you have used the e-application process, again, it's rinse and repeat. It's the same exact process, but instead of selecting New Vista e-app, if you've been contracted to sell the PrimeTo100, you'll see this option in your drop-down list, PrimeTo100 Voice. So the gist of this is that you're going to start this application with your client over the phone. You're going to run their quote, obtain, make sure that they're comfortable with the face amount, the premium, whether or not they're going to take the accidental death benefit. You're going to start the application, fill in all their basic information, pretty much if you were looking at the paper app, everything off the first couple of pages. And then you're going to complete the point of sale call or the point of sale personal health interview with Aptical via three-way call. So once you've completed the rate calculator, we've actually just recently made an upgrade. So the premium, the draft date, as we were talking about Social Security billing just a moment ago, it actually doesn't fill from the rate calculator here. So if you ever see this box on the rate calculator, the premium draw date, just ignore it. Leave it as no draw date. We're actually working with Aptical to remove this box from the rate calculator today. So going forward, you won't see that anymore. But if by chance you see this, just leave it at no draw date. We're going to collect all of the specific billing option details later in the application. So again, this is actually a little bit simpler than the New Vista because you're only going to get one result. There's not 3 different plan types as it is with our normal final expense product. You're only going to get this one plan type. So once you get your results, everybody's comfortable with these terms, you'll click Save, and that takes you into the next step of the application. So same basic questions. Again, if you're looking at the paper app, it mirrors the questions pretty much verbatim. You're going to fill in information regarding the proposed insured and the owner. Keep in mind, with any type of voice signature process with our Prosperity products, the payor must be either the proposed insured or the owner. We don't allow for a separate payor on these voice signature applications. At that point, you have to have too many parties on the phone for the applicant interview, and it just gets overwhelming. So we only allow through voice signature, the payor must be either the proposed insured or the owner. You have 2 options. Also, one thing to note, if there is existing coverage that you're intending to replace, you may not use the voice signature process. And this is the same whether you're selling PrimeTo100 voice or New Vista voice. So again, you cannot complete a replacement. That is going to require a face-to-face meeting. So with both of our telesales options, both PrimeTo100 and New Vista, we give you the option to provide the disclosures, the required disclosures that are required to be provided at the point of sale by email to your client before completing the interview call with Aptical. So if your client has an email address, you can log into your agent portal and download the required disclosures and email those ahead of the call. And if they don't have an email address, that's okay. That's fine. They're just going to listen to some recorded playbacks. So just answer these questions appropriately, whether or not you were able to email the disclosures ahead of time. Again, this is not a knockout. So just keep moving. If they don't have an email address, just mark these no, and you can keep going. So you're going to collect all the basic demographic. Again, same sort of process if you're already familiar with our New Vista plan. Couple of things to note. Social Security number is required. We do not accept an I-10 number. They must have a Social Security number. They must also be a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident with a green card. No exceptions on those couple of qualifications. So like I said, this is actually just a little bit shorter process than what you may be used to with the New Vista plan. You know, all the screens look pretty identical, but it's just shorter because there's less health questions and less options. So on this, it's going to ask you to reconfirm the face amount that the client is applying for. It's also going to ask, will Social Security billing apply to this application? So just to reiterate that, all that means is that if they're receiving their paycheck, their monthly benefit from Social Security, and it happens, their regular pay date happens to fall on a non-business day, we will follow the calendar that Social Security Administration uses. This is really all this means. It's nothing else but just lining up the payment date to match their deposit date. So if they're still employed, if they're 40, 50 years old and they're employed full-time and they're just getting paid, you know, they want to set up the 15th of the month, then no, you would select no, that Social Security billing does not apply to this application. This is only going to be for those benefits who are receiving Social Security. And then the next question is, of course, going to ask what month to start with. So it's either going to be the current month or the next month based on what day of the month it currently is. All of the applications' first payments must be collected within 35 days. So I can't stress that enough. So your month selection, if they're starting in the following month, and let's say it's, you know, right now it's the 15th of the month, but they want to start next month, unfortunately, or, you know, the month following, they're not going to be able to do that. So they're going to have to be within that 35-day window. So you are going to just confirm their billing and their banking information. So whether we're debiting their checking account or savings account, we can do either via EFT bank draft. We can also accept the Direct Express MasterCard, so you'll see the options to enter in that information, as well as a debit card tied to their bank account. So just keep in mind, as Jack mentioned, any of those plastic types of payment, direct express or debit cards, are going to result in no advance commissions being paid out to you as the agent. So we're going to pay those as earned, but if they'll set up an EFT draft to a checking or savings account, we'll be able to advance you up to 6 months on this product. From here, just a couple more screens to fill in. You're going to list the beneficiary information. It's going to give you options to list up to 3 primary and up to 3 contingent beneficiaries on this. Now, just keep in mind, all of those beneficiary options can be changed later on after the policy is issued. Your client can just contact customer service and complete the required forms to change their beneficiaries. They can do that as many times as they want to. So one last step before you submit this application, you're going to just make sure that you're going to reconfirm there's no replacement involved here. The Aptical system is going to populate and pre-fill your agent number, email, first, last name. All this information is going to pre-populate and fill in for you. Please just make sure that it's accurate. If you've ever had more than one agent number with Prosperity Life, Aptical may not be pre-filling the correct agent number. So if you've ever changed contracts for any reason, you've gotten more than one agent number, please double check and make sure this is the correct agent number for you. Any additional comments can be filled in here. If there's additional beneficiaries they want to add up front, if you want to put a note into new business to send some forms, all that can be collected right here before you actually submit the app. So the next step is going to be just to click finish at the bottom of the screen. And you'll see that the application, the status has been changed to pending, and it's ready for the interview. So the next step is to have a 3-way call with Aptical. You'll press option 1. The application is going to provide you an app ID number. So this is the reference number that you want to provide to your Aptical interviewer so that they can successfully retrieve the voice application you've already completed. So again, just make sure you're keeping up with this reference number that's provided to you. And when your interviewer answers the phone, you're going to want to say that you have a prime term voice application for Prosperity Life and that you have this reference number to give them. That's going to help cut down on any confusion once they pick up the phone and start to proceed into the health questions with your client. From here, you just want to let Aptical take over. Try not to interject. We know that if the clients are well prepared for the questions that they'll be asked, then there really won't be too much confusion. But again, just to avoid any kind of, they will mark if you try to coach your client or if there's hesitation, and those types of applications can get flagged for further underwriting just for, additional review. So the more you stay out of it, the better off you'll always be. So just let them take over. Of course, you guys can, if the client has questions, you can answer those, but just don't interject. Advise them to always just provide a yes or no answer. That's really all Aptical is going to be looking for. You will need to stay on the call for the entire recorded phone interview. You will need to provide your recorded voice signatures as well as the client at the end of the call. So this is how you sign the application as the agent as well. Again, if there's a separate owner, that party must also be on the line. So basically, anybody that has to sign this application must be on the recorded call. Aptical is going to run through and just validate some of the entries that you have already provided. They won't read the whole application to them over again. It's just going to be a couple entries, date of birth and social, the spelling of their name. Those are things that you can expect Aptical to reiterate and re-ask your client just to make sure they have it on the recording properly. They will conduct an identity validation check, and this is the same process they use for the NuVista e-apps and voice signature apps, so no difference there. If they let you know that there's been an issue with the customer's identity and it cannot be validated, you can expect new business to send you an email. They'll let this application come through, but please expect there will be additional follow-up asked to provide to new business. And that's going to be in the, in the way of a copy of the driver's license and social security card most of the time. Aptical is going to ask your proposed insured if they receive those email disclosures. Again, it's a yes or no question. If they did, great, we'll move on. If not, they'll just listen to some recordings. They are going to proceed into the medical questions themselves, collect the answers to those 3 questions that we took a look at. just a minute ago, and then they will run the MIB and script checks. They will render the underwriting decision in 99% of the cases. Because this is not a level graded modified type of plan, it's a approved or declined, and that's it. Those are the only two options. So you are almost always on these cases going to get a decision at the point of sale. Now, if they have to refer it, that means that there is something in the MIB history that indicates your client did not provide an honest answer to one of those questions. So if you get a refer case, just understand it's going to be sent to the home office for further underwriting. More than likely, underwriting is going to reach out and say that they need 5 years of medical records to complete that case or to, review that case. So just keep that in mind. That kind of just is going to be your indicator that there's something not right there. Assuming that you get, your decision and everybody is comfortable with it at the end of the call, as expected, Aptical is going to provide that completed application with all the voice signatures electronically to Prosperity's home office, and within 2 business days, you will see that appear in your agent portal. Now, in the event that you ever had to go back and let's say the client just wasn't ready to complete the telephone interview at that exact time, they had to run for a second and then, they want to do it later, you can go back and reopen a pending application. Under the application menu, you have an option to search your applications. The company name will generally pre-fill, and that is what, one of these options, filter options, has to be selected in order to search the applications. Generally, the company will automatically pre-fill, so you just click search, and you'll see all of your applications showing the statuses. So if you have one that says live app pending, ready for interview, you would just want to click on this, click the conduct button, it reopens the application, and then you would do your call to Aptical to complete the whole thing. But this is a good way if you have lost track of that app ID number, you can search and find the app ID number here. So just briefly on paper apps, because obviously, the telesales process is not going to be utilized in every single case, especially once we get through this crisis period that we're in. You may want to actually complete a face-to-face sale somewhere down the road. So with that, your paper applications are available in PDF format through your agent portal. They are listed by state, just like our new Vista apps, but you'll have a separate tab. So you'll have one tab under your resources section that says final expense and one tab that says Prime Term to 100. So they separate the materials in that method. So you'll just pull down your paper app, print it out, or you can order these directly from the home office. We're happy to mail you some printed copies so you don't have to print them. Complete the application in its entirety, validate your customer's identity, make sure they have either a driver's license or a state-issued ID card, and then you'll give Aptical a call, let them know that you have a paper application for Prime Term to 100 Prosperity Life. They'll collect your agent number, and then they'll proceed with your client into those health questions that we took a look at. So just keep in mind here, when they render the decision to you, they're going to provide that reference number to you at the end of the call. You'll want to write that somewhere on your paper application. You can write it right on the first page or under the special request box, as long as it's on the application so that new business can find it. I do want to stress that no matter what the outcome of the underwriting interview is, you must submit that paper application to the home office via fax or email within 7 days. Even if they choose not to take it, even if they get declined, whatever the outcome is, we have to have a signed copy of that HIPAA authorization since we completed the phone interview. So keep that in mind. We do have brochures available for this product if you want to download and print them yourself or order them. We also offer an order form on the agent portal just like we do for New Vista. So those options are available there for you. I'm going to go ahead and put up our agent support line. So if you ever have questions about the product down the line, need support from the home office, this is our contact information. So I'll give you a moment just to jot that down. And then I have one last thing that I wanted to share with you. And David, I see a couple questions populating there, so we can take those too. You may have received already a bulletin notice from our marketing department earlier. Oh well, I guess it was last week, indicating you know, the increased need and demand for telesales. So I just wanted to, if you're already contracted, you would have received this last week from us. This actually gives you a video demo of the voice application process. The link that's in the bulletin that we sent around actually has a video demo of PrimeTo100. So it's an excellent resource for you to just take a look at later. We also have provided to you the states in which the PrimeTo voice application is not available. So if you're selling in any of these states listed here, unfortunately, you just can't do it via voice. Now, a couple of these states will allow face-to-face paper apps, but any questions on those, just let the home office know. We just wanted to kind of put it out there, like which states you just cannot do a voice signature in. It's just not approved by the state.
Hey, I got a question for
with
you.
That, yeah, go for it.
If an agent's doing telesales in one of those states, but then he or she calls into one of the other states that it is available in, that's fine, right?
So we're talking about the state where the client is located.
Okay.
That's what these states reference. We don't care where the agent is. That doesn't matter at all. Agent can be wherever they want. But this is where the client would be physically voice signing that application, is where it's not available.
Okay.
David, one other thing.
Yeah.
This plan does also qualify for the agent bonus. So the 10% bonus agents can earn every quarter. This plan would count for that as well.
Yeah, thanks for noting that. I forgot all about that, Jack.
So question here, we've got, Scott says, if we do this face-to-face and the client is very hard of hearing, can we reiterate the questions for the client? I would suppose we would just do an e-app, right? Would probably be the best route.
So e-application is not available for this product yet. We'll get there. So Aptical does offer a hearing impaired interview.
Really?
I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I do know that it is something that they offer. It's like their TTY. I'm not sure how that functions, but you guys probably know better than we do. But it is offered by Aptical.
Okay.
And also in a situation like that, as long as you let the Aptical interviewer know up front, because hearing impaired would not affect whether the person could have the plan. So if the agent needed to re-ask the question, what the agent can't do is answer the question for the customer.
Right.
Correct.
And then, do you know if Aptical does translations for those who don't speak English well, but another language?
No. So just like New Vista, we are currently only marketing this in English. So okay. They do have translators, but they're not there 100% of the time. So you would have to work with Aptical to see when they're available, but kind of at the end of the day, we're in the same position as we are with New Vista. It's coming. We just don't have it yet for Spanish.
Sure. And let's see what else here. Jason says, no voice signature for the term product in Texas. That's correct. Does this work for other voice signatures for other products in Texas or only this one? So New Vista is available in Texas, right?
It is.
Yeah.
New Vista Voice is available in Texas. Paper app for PrimeTo100 face-to-face sale is available in Texas.
Okay.
Just
Gotcha.
Not the voice signature. For whatever reason, Texas did not approve that. We are working hard to get that changed.
Sure.